Hi, I'm Gary with Taylor Adhesives, and today we're going to talk to you about the difference between wet set, semi-wet, and dry set with adhesives. Now, wet set can be done with a variety of different adhesive types. We're going to show you today with an acrylic adhesive. You can also do that with epoxies or with moisture-cured adhesives. In fact, with epoxies and moisture-cured adhesives, you have to go into those products wet set. In most cases, wet set adhesives do require a porous substrate so that the residual moisture that's in the adhesive can absorb back into the substrate. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now we're going to start with a wet set application. Now, this is while you're going into the adhesive, while it's still wet. You're going to have to go into it fairly quickly with a water-based adhesive like an acrylic, usually within about 15 to 20 minutes. So you're going to have a very short working time from the time you spread the adhesive. If you're working with an epoxy adhesive or a moisture-cured adhesive, you may have 45 minutes to an hour depending on the product you're working with. If you're working with a water-based adhesive, again, remember, it will have to be a porous substrate so the residual moisture that's in the adhesive can absorb back into the substrate and it isn't sandwiched between two non-porous surfaces. Now, once you set your flooring into it as a wet set, you have to be concerned about a little bit of slippage because since you're going into the adhesive wet, that product can slip around and move. You may need a tape strap or something like that to hold it in place while the adhesive sets up. But you'll notice, once we pull this up, we've got good adhesive transfer to the back. So that is actually a good way to go into it if you're going to go into it as a wet set. The wet set application is going to give you a very strong bond. Again, it does have to be done over a porous substrate with water-based adhesives and some epoxies. Moisture-cured adhesives could be done over a porous or a non-porous substrate as a wet set. Now, when you're installing a floor as a semi-wet, now this would be with a water-based adhesive, generally like an acrylic type of product like we're working with today. That is when the adhesive starts to dry between the trowel ridges, but you'll still get wet on the ridges themselves. So once you put the flooring into it and you roll the assembly, you're going to actually get some transfer. The beauty of a semi-wet installation compared to a wet set is you don't have the slippage, so you won't need to use tape strapping or anything like that to hold the planks in place so that they don't migrate or move and ultimately gap between those planks. Now I'm going to drop a plank into it. I'm going to roll that lightly. And then we pull that plank back up. You'll see just the little stripes from where you got wet transfer. Now, once that was rolled with a 75 to 100 pound roller, you'll actually get a little bit more transfer. You're getting wet transfer, and that's going to give you a superior bond compared to a dry set with any adhesive. Now we're going to show you a dry set application. Dry set is one of the preferred applications. The difference with that is you're not going to get adhesive transfer, and it's not going to give you quite as strong a bond as a wet set or a semi-wet application would. I'm going to drop the plank in, roll the assembly using a hand roller, and when I go to pull it back up, you can see it's stuck well, but you're not getting that adhesive transfer. You're not going to expect to get transfer as a dry set. With a semi-wet or a wet set, you will get adhesive transfer. No adhesive transfer with a dry set. So each one's going to have its place. You have to look at the flooring manufacturer's recommendations for application instructions. If they want to go into it, if they require their flooring to go in as a wet set, a semi-wet, or a dry set, you can utilize an adhesive for that. Now, if you're working with an epoxy or a moisture-cured adhesive, semi-wet or dry set will not work. So remember, next time you're doing a resilient flooring installation, check your flooring manufacturer's TDS to find out if they want you to install the flooring as a wet set, semi-wet, or dry set application. For more information, contact Taylor Technical Services.